When we watch monks walking for Buddhism in cold weather, what do we think about Buddhism? Is it really true that Buddhism only teaches us to practice severe asceticism and harshly punish the body? And is the path the monks are walking truly right? Have you ever realized that you are living too indulgently with yourself by constantly pampering desires, or you think that is normal? But when we cling too much to pleasures built in the past, over time they become habits that are hard to abandon. Then those old habits constantly dominate and control us, causing our minds to fall into delusion and be forced to obey those desires. There are people who chase after enjoyment, emotional comfort, and modern pleasures more and more. Yet their inner world becomes increasingly empty, vague, and anxious when pleasure reaches its peak. Then they must look for new vague and impulsive demands to stimulate new desires that never truly stop. We pause for a few seconds to feel the pleasant sensations appearing in body and mind, such as heat, cold, pain, or comfort on the skin or through the six senses during this cold season. Inhale and gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose, and notice your belly softening and sinking. And we continue to feel the discomfort. Sometimes, you are too strict with yourself or force yourself under fear or excessive worry even though nothing has happened, causing the mind to become disordered and sink into depression. Some people torment their bodies through ascetic practices or cling to suffering as a solution to avoid temptations they do not want to occur. Or sometimes they turn practice and meditation into pressure and see peace as an achievement that must be attained, forcing the body into some extreme limit they believe they must endure. In truth, both ways of living do not lead to lasting peace, because these two paths are often excessive, causing body and mind to lack balance and fail to reach the natural equilibrium inherent in meditation practice. And today, I want to share the balanced, peaceful middle way that the Buddha left for us to practice until today. Let us watch the video until the end to choose a peaceful path of practice for ourselves, and if you find the video helpful, please leave one subscribe, one like, and one share to accompany the channel with many more beneficial videos. When we look back, modern humans have more material conveniences than ever before, yet carry many silent anxieties within. So why do Buddhist monks walk in freezing conditions with hardship, yet remain peaceful and steadily move forward, bringing peace to others? Just one mindful breath is enough to pull the mind back to the body and mind, helping us understand our emotions more clearly. Inhale and gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose, and notice your belly softening and sinking. When we look back at ourselves, if ordinary material conveniences are not provided, they trample and urge the mind, forcing us to obtain them by all means, even through conflict, irritation, craving, and even clashes that lead to war. And when we can recognize that dependence, we immediately throw away old habits with excessive pressure. Not giving body and mind enough time to adapt, causing rebellion and making body and mind even more tense due to the way we handle it. There are also people who suppress themselves into depression because old negative thoughts or emotions often lead them into dead ends with no escape. Tearing their body and mind through pressure because they want to avoid old pain or fear. In confusion, we often seek countless methods of self-development and different spiritual practices. But the more we do, the more our faith and mind become disordered. This contradiction causes many people to feel lost even though they are trying very hard to live well and live rightly. But monks do not think so, because they know suffering does not come from a lack of paths to walk. But because we often unconsciously push ourselves too far to one side, sometimes craving too much and falling when we do not attain it, or being fearful and getting lost in endless suffering. Inhale and gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose, and notice your belly softening and sinking. Many people believe that happiness comes from prolonged pleasant feelings and the continuous satisfaction of desires. They seek joy through entertainment, social media, shopping, success, and recognition from outside. Each moment of joy exists only briefly and then quickly fades. Leaving a greater sense of lack because the craving in the mind continues to demand new invisible satisfactions and new motivations. From there, people continue to search for a little more with the hope of filling that inner emptiness through old habits. On another side, some people believe peace comes from external powers through prayer and sacred rituals that are extremely supernatural and will come to help them. They worship intensely with fear of wrongdoing, fear of karma, fear of spirits, and unseen things they do not understand. Fear causes them to hand over their lives to faith lacking wisdom instead of observing themselves. Whether indulgence or superstition, the common point is seeking solutions that make the mind dependent on changing phenomena outside oneself. Quick pleasure often leads to subtle dependence, causing people to lose the ability to naturally abide in inner peace. When external sources of joy disappear, a sense of emptiness immediately appears clearly and is hard to hide, pushing us to look for something new to satisfy it. When faith is not illuminated by understanding, even normal desires can easily turn into dependence and loss of autonomy. Because when the external environment changes, we close our eyes and follow the familiar call of outer phenomena regardless of the consequences afterward. Inhale and gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose, and notice your belly softening and sinking. Faith and spirituality are necessary for us, but if excessive they become distorted and imbalanced. The issue lies in whether our approach is wise and understanding. On the contrary, many people believe that the true path of practice must go along with painful restraint. And that the more the pain, the higher the value of liberation. They believe only when the body suffers and the mind is forced will the ego be completely broken and old habits abandoned. This belief turns practice into a tense process based on iron willpower, endurance, and hidden fear. Instead of listening to body and mind, they use strong control to force themselves to fit vague, anxious, and unwise patterns. In this way of meditation, fear becomes the main motivation, and mistakes are seen as sins that must be punished. Daily life becomes tense because of constant fear of doing wrong, fear of karma, and fear of invisible punishment. Practice gradually turns into days of struggling against oneself instead of a journey of understanding and compassion. Buddhist monks do not follow those two ways, but choose a wiser path of constantly observing the unfolding of body and mind through each breath. In every state, walking meditation, standing meditation, lying meditation, and sitting meditation, let us pay attention to the in and out breath and observe the changes of our body and mind to understand clearly what we truly need. Inhale gently, follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose, and notice your belly softening and sinking. Only when we slowly look directly at ourselves and illuminate the two familiar extreme paths in modern life, can we choose the Buddhist middle way and follow in the footsteps of the Buddhist monks. The middle way that the Buddha passed down is not a compromise but a way of living mindfully in the midst of life. The middle way is not about standing in the middle for safety, but about standing firmly in understanding and deep observation of every moment in the present, without letting the mind waver between craving desires and harsh suffering. It is necessary to clearly distinguish that discipline in practice does not mean torturing the body or suppressing emotions. Letting go is not giving up, but letting go of coercion in order to clearly see the reality that is unfolding. When the body is exhausted, the mind can hardly be clear, and mindfulness becomes vain. Practice at this point no longer nurtures wisdom but turns into a prolonged inner battle. A common mistake is confusing pain with awakening and endurance with wisdom. Many people forget that the mind needs to be understood and embraced, not defeated. The middle way is not about standing in the middle for form's sake, but a path that rises above two opposing extremes through clear observation, insight, and the attainment of mindful balance. It is a way of living that knows how to care for the body just enough to serve as a foundation for sustainable mindfulness. The middle way invites us to observe the mind gently, neither forcing nor letting it drift away. When joy appears, we know joy fully with mindfulness, but do not cling tightly to that feeling. When suffering arises, we clearly know that suffering is present, without fearfully running away or blaming ourselves into self-pressure. In middle way practice, we neither push ourselves excessively nor relax to the point of losing direction. The monks walk in difficult conditions, in cold winds, they eat simply, and meditate at night. Yet they remain peaceful, without fear, anxiety, or self-torment, and without clinging to ordinary sensual desires. This is the way of practicing meditation and walking, standing, lying, and sitting to remain mindful. In all circumstances that the Buddhist middle way encourages practitioners to move toward. Buddhist monks walk with a peaceful and stable mind state, inspiring the world to move toward greater peace and harmony. As for us, we also need to recognize the path we need to adjust gradually according to each person's capacity through this middle way. When we practice meditation in all daily activities, walking, standing, lying, and sitting, to keep the mind peaceful and reduce greed, anger, and delusion, we can attain happiness, peace, and harmony anytime and anywhere. Each time we realize we have gone astray is an opportunity to return to a deeper balance. The two extreme thoughts, one causes us to lose ourselves, the other makes us fight against our own inner world. The middle way is the path of understanding and compassion for this very body and mind. You may ask yourself whether you are leaning toward tension or rushing toward comfort. Perhaps you do not need to change your entire life, only to look again at how you are walking right now. The middle way is not found on a high mountain nor hidden in complex rituals. It is present in the very moment you stop, breathe slowly, and listen more deeply to yourself. The journey in the game of breath will become more and more fascinating if you truly cherish it. This practice, just like a habit, is a key to unlocking every doorway within your body and mind. So keep watching, and keep practicing with me in this video and the ones to come. If you have any thoughts or reflections, feel free to leave a comment below. And if this video helped or inspired you, please click like, subscribe, and share it with others. Thank you.